Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Jane. I want to welcome you to this week's growth call for the Bisq Network. We hold these calls every week on Thursday at this time to talk about how Bisq has been doing and what we can do to help the network grow. For those of you who are new, special welcome to you. We think about Bisq as the only true decentralized Bitcoin exchange where you can trade Bitcoin for other currencies. So other cryptocurrencies, like Monero, for example, or other fiat currencies like the US dollar or the euro. And doing that while staying private to a high degree and without having to trust any central servers or companies. I've added a link to the description below if you'd like to see more details and intro on Bisq. There's a link there with some docs and a video that has some very good information for you to learn more. I'll post a link to this Hangouts chat in the YouTube chat if you'd like to join us here in the Hangout and actually participate in the conversation, or you're free to watch on YouTube and post comments there and we'll respond as we can. We've got, looks like we have Aruna and Manfred on the call right now. Hello, guys. So as far as the agenda goes, I want to talk three main things. I want to just do a quick market update, talk another quick note on blog posts, which we mentioned on the call last week, and then spend most of the time talking about the upcoming release for the client. So a market update, pretty brief, not a whole lot to say here. Volume is looking like it's going to fall short of last month by a little bit. We did, one second, this to load. We did 3.4 million US dollars in volume last month, and it looks like this month we are just about to hit 1 million. So it's probably going to be a little short. On the bright side, we have Monero seems to be picking up in volume. Historically, that's, at least for the past few months, that's a couple of months, it's been a good source of volume for Bisq. So that seems to be picking up, and hopefully if that stays, then we can close the gap a little bit for the month of February. So second item, blog posts. We mentioned last week that we're looking for people to write blog posts for the Bisq blog. We've kind of solidified or made some more structure around the process for that over the past few days. So if you'd like to, if you think you might like to contribute, feel free to join the blog posts channel on Slack, and we'll correspond with you there. Aruna, anything you'd like to add for that?
Yes, so there is a lot of information on the blog post Slack channel, and there is also a spreadsheet where you can take a look at the publishing schedule and make comments on which topic you would like to write and your availability, and just get in touch with me. And we are looking forward to having more writers join us.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me put this Hangouts link like I said I would. Okay. Cool. So next item is the upcoming release. So we've pushed it to next week. We're targeting for a hopeful launch on Tuesday. We're targeting a code freeze today. There are two lingering issues that we want to get into the release if we can. One of them is, so two of them actually are both issues that I've seen on Twitter and on the forum, the issues that users are having, primarily restoring from seed on Windows. There's a quirk in the way Windows handles certain files that BitcoinJ needs, which was causing issues with that. So hopefully a fix for that. And then startup issues, I think primarily on Windows, when you start up Bisq and it just closes without any kind of a warning. We're looking to add a box in the UI, an alert that at least tells you what the issue was if that issue occurs. I think it's a Tor issue, and so with this dialog box, you should see at least a message of what the issue is to help with debugging and figuring out the problem. As far as notable items in the new release, there's two primary ones. Well, there's a lot, but the two that I want to talk about here are trade limits. So a lot of folks have been, I guess, a little frustrated that with the somewhat depressed crypto market and Bitcoin prices, that the initial trade limits in Bisq are a bit low. And so correct me if I'm wrong, Manfred, but it looks like the altcoin limit is going up to 2 Bitcoin, and fiat currencies, the initial limit is it 0.16?
Yeah, so currently the limit for altcoins is 1 Bitcoin. And for fiat currency, it depends on the payment method, on the risk class of the payment method. Some payment methods are very, very hard to charge back, and some are a little bit higher risk for chargeback. And depending on this, we have 3 different risk classes for payment methods. So the low risk payment methods have half a Bitcoin at the moment. The medium risk 0.25, and the higher risk 0.125 Bitcoin at the moment. And then there is this account age witness concept. So for the first 2 months, you have a lower trade limit. That's a protection against chargeback scams. Yeah, when you have your account already set up minimum 2 months, then you have this full trade limit, like depending on the payment method risk. But for instance, for SEPA, I think it's 0.25 Bitcoin. In the second month, so after 1 month, you have the half of that, that's 0.125. And currently in the first month, you have then again the half of the 0.125, that's 0.06 125, I think, and that's quite low. Also with the low Bitcoin price, I mean, these limits have been set roughly a year ago when Bitcoin price was much better. I think it was between $5,000 and $10,000 in this time when we introduced it, and we tried to find a reasonable compromise to not attract chargeback scammers in Bisq because of the extra friction what they have with these trade limits. We didn't expect that the Bitcoin price goes lower. We expected more it goes much higher. Hopefully it goes higher back soon. But yeah, to adjust this reality, we decided now to boost the trade limits. So they're doubled now. So in dollar terms, I think with the current Bitcoin price, in the first month, so the new user has something like $200 roughly as the trade limit, and with the new limits it's then $400. And after the 2 months, he would then have $800 as the trade limit. And as most Bisq users will know already, but for new users, so the trade limit is only for a limit for 1 trade. You can make unlimited offers and unlimited trades in parallel. Just one trade, one offer has this limitation, and the reason for this limitations is to protect against chargeback. And it seems it works pretty good. We had in all our history, we had now 3 chargeback cases all in all, and one time we had a little bit more with Cash App and Venmo, but that was basically because those payment methods were too risky, and we removed it immediately. But there was also only 1 user who got scammed. And beside that, there was only 3 cases over more than 2 years. So I think the security model works pretty good in that way. And that's a little bit of inconvenience, of course, when you want to buy or sell big amounts of Bitcoin, you have to make multiple offers or take multiple offers. But you can see it as a risk spread mechanism. So when you would trade with one scammer who would make a chargeback, because with all fiat payment methods, there is some remaining risk for chargeback. So every bank account can't do a chargeback in certain cases. Even some are advertised they never do it, but don't trust the banks. And but this risk can be managed by these tools that we're using. And with that, from our track records, it seems it works pretty good. And with distributing, when you want to trade $10,000 or whatever, and you do it with 1 trader, and you would get scammed by chargeback. It hurts a lot when you do 10 or 20 trades and you get scammed one time in 20 trades. Yeah, you can see that a little bit like an extra cost or extra fee or security fee that, or insurance fee that, yeah, are one time in many trades you might run into the risk. But as said, I mean, we had 3 cases out of something like 20,000 trades in our history. I mean, this 20,000 trades includes the altcoin trades, and there's no chargeback risk, of course. But I don't know the number now of the pure fiat trades, but I think it's also quite a lot. So the risks are actually very low. Yeah, and the other interesting thing is that we allow, also these trade limits have been hard-coded, and it's a little bit difficult to change because of backward compatibility. And we have with the DAO new features to change certain parameters in the application, like the trading fees or these trade limits now. Also, we added this now to the DAO parameter. So once the DAO is live on mainnet, then BSQ stakeholders can vote on changing the trading fee. So any trader who is really motivated to get higher or lower trading fees can basically make a request for changing this trading fee. And when he gets support by the other stakeholders and reach the required quorum, then yeah, it will be changed in the next month after the voting round is over. So without any update and without any issues with backward compatibility. Yeah, I think that's a very important new feature for many traders.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was another big, I think lots of DAO improvements in this release, which we'll talk about next week or maybe a little bit later. But yeah, as Manfred mentioned, the practically that these trade limits increases take us back to where we were last year in terms of, when the price was higher, the amount of currency you could trade in one time. These limits pretty much take us back to that. So it's should be much more convenient for people. The other thing is, in this release, we've added some stable coins. So 4 of them, MakerDAO's token, the DAI, TrueUSD, USD Coin, and Augment Euro. These are all ERC20 tokens.
I'm not aware of this Augment Euro.
Oh, no.
Are you sure that's added? I only see 3, but I'm not 100% up to date with that. Christoph has done this. Get some feedback. We get some feedback from Konstantin. Can you mute, please? I muted him.
Okay. Oh, you're right. Maybe
it was Tether.
Wasn't. Oh no, I think it was merged. Looks like it was merged.
Okay, maybe that was another one. I'll have a look afterwards. I don't know about this. Also, Theta was planned also, but because Theta is so weird dual coin that they are living on the Omni blockchain, which is basically a color coin on Bitcoin as the original master coin, and also on Ethereum with ERC20 tokens, which would make it complicated to support it. Basically, we would need to add it in 2 versions: the Theta in as a Bitcoin, as the Omni version, or the Theta as the ERC20 token, which for sure is then confusing for users who don't know this. And and I mean, Theta is very connected with Bitfinex, which is a very I mean, there are a lot of criticisms around Bitfinex. Many say that's the next Mt. Gox, and Theta is probably on high risk with them. So when they get into bigger troubles, so Theta would probably also fail. And a general a comment regarding stable coins. We got quite a few criticism from some Bisq contributors and users already, because many are considering stable coins as basically a bad idea, or as scams, or as basically has nothing to do with cryptocurrencies, which I partly agree, especially that they are also those stable coins which are just backed by dollar in a bank account by a company are, in my opinion, have nothing to do with the idea of a cryptocurrency. but they still, I mean, yeah, there's one exception. This is DAI. Also, I have to admit that I don't know much about all the stable coins, how they really work, and also I think the true US dollar seems to have also a more complex smart contract mechanism. So I'm not 100% sure if that's purely basically backed by a company who theoretically holds their equivalent amount of dollar in a bank account and prints then the stable coin as kind of like a IOU. So yeah, first there's a high trust issue. So basically you have to trust this company that they are not printing money out of thin air. And especially with Theta, there have been a lot of criticism in this direction. With DAI, I'm not 100% sure how it works exactly. I think it's a very complex economic and game theoretical model, but it's probably more interesting at least, but probably also even more risky. So my personal recommendation is with stablecoin are treated as like Mt. Gox dollar. So in the time before Mt. Gox was collapsing, their dollar were pure IOU, and it was not clear that you get it out, and they were even traded below the real US dollar value because it was so hard to get them out. So it's basically a voucher. It's not money. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a trust voucher to this company, to this issuer, and when they're in trouble, your voucher might end up in nothing. So I think you have to be aware that it's high risk, that it has basically nothing to do with real cryptocurrencies, at least those who are purely backed by dollar and who are purely run by a company and not really decentralized. But the interesting part and why we decided that we would like to add a few stable coins is because even if they are much worse, like Bitcoin or any real cryptocurrency, they are much better like fiat. That's the worst coin at the end. And it has a few advantages. For first, there's no chargeback risk. It's just an altcoin, so you can verify the transfer and you cannot reverse it. So I mean that's a big benefit. The second big benefit is that no banks are included, so you can trade whatever you want without any limitations, or that your bank is closing your account because you traded over the limits what they assume it's appropriate to your profile or whatever. And I'm not sure about the privacy, but theoretically they could add also a little bit on privacy. I would not give too much on that, but I mean, yeah, with bank you have zero privacy. They have all the data, know everything what you've done. With an altcoin, it depends how you are managing your wallet and how you get these stable coins and so on. But I think there are, especially for heavy traders who are more on the speculative side and who don't really are interested in holding the fiat side for using it, who are basically speculating on the price movements. I think stable coins are an interesting option to avoid that they are getting troubles with the banks when they trade $10,000 or $20,000 a month in a normal bank account. Probably you get already issues with a stable coin. Yeah, it's just an altcoin, and you are more flexible with this. So with all this said, I would not keep stable coins as real money, and I would not hold it too long, and I would not expose myself with too much in stable coins. But for certain use cases, I think they add some benefits. Another benefit might be hedging in a way. So when you assume that Bitcoin could go even lower down and you are overexposed with Bitcoin, you could put it, instead of selling Bitcoin to a real dollar and keep it in the bank account, you can sell it to a few different stable coins, spread the risk. When one stable coin goes bust, at least you have not lost everything. And I think it adds a little bit of new options for Bisq users and traders. And it's not an endorsement from our side, of course. Like no altcoin what we add is an endorsement, but especially here, I think you have to be aware that it's kind of like it's just a better alternative to fiat. It's not a better cryptocurrency.
Yeah. I also heard that these could be a good segue for people who are not comfortable with the volatility of Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies. Yeah, because it's more stable, it could be a better on-ramp for people who are not familiar with the space. So maybe that could work in our favor. Yeah, I want to say welcome to Jake Constantino. Hello. Did you want to? I think your mic was actually working earlier. I don't know if you want to say a few words, introduce yourself, or are you on our Slack? I think your microphone is off right now.
I think you're muted in the Hangout application. As I muted you before because of the noise. When you roll over the screen, you will see the microphone button. Oh, Steve, can you unmute him?
I think I don't see a way to do that. It's the muting button is grayed out for me.
Yeah, for me as well. I think you only can mute somebody, but not unmute.
All right. Well, sorry about that. Okay. We will hopefully next time we can get some audio. Okay, so I think that's all I have from my end. Anyone else have anything to add? Oh, let me check the YouTube chat as well. Okay, yeah. Let's wait a couple seconds for comments on YouTube. All right, folks. Well, I think that's it for now. And everyone take care. We'll see you back here again next week.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.